Thank you. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Time is 11:02. I'd like to welcome our community members, our public, our staff, and all board members. Thank you for joining us today. First, we're going to go into our reports to committee, our communications update.
Ms. Johnson, our communications manager, will be delivering that report.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Maslow. Thank you, Chairman, and everyone here. I'm just going to share my screen. So the month of August was really good for the communications department with CAT. So we're excited to share everything that we're doing and have done. We want to start first with what's happening now. We launched our CAT Tracker app on yesterday, which has gotten some good feedback so far. We did a push on social media. We posted up signs at our top 20 bus stops and at the all the bus stops at the ITC. We pushed out to the news media, and we already secured some interviews on the CAT Tracker, one today as we speak, and we sent out text alerts. We also started doing some rider outreach at the ITC last week. Ms. Faye, Ms. Valerie, communications team, and some other members just having public comment cards so they can just, let us know how we're doing, what they want to see with CAT services. So in August, Abby Edwards officially finished the art mural that is in the Wellness Center. This is the finished product right here, and it will officially be unveiled during our Wellness Kickoff event in October 20th. CAT was in the news a lot last month, which is good, keeping that momentum of CAT in the news and throughout the community. We were mentioned about 64 times between all media outlets and the newspaper. Even one WXIA from Atlanta, they talked about our FTA grant award with our new electric buses. So that's really good news for us. And we want to keep that momentum going in September. Upcoming events. This Thursday, CAT is doing a lot of outreach in the community as well as interning with our employees. But this Thursday, we are having a CAT Cares Pet Fair and more. We're going to have, we partnered with the Humane Society for Greater Savannah. From 10 to 12, we're going to have a pet food drive. It's going to be a drive-through style event, and it's going to be free for those who attend. We'll have some pet adoption information. The Senior Citizens Inc. will be here to kind of give seniors information on how they can help them. And we also just added another vendor, the Over the Moon diapers. They will be providing diapers and needed supplies for people who attend as well. So that's all I have, but we are doing great things, reaching out and to get CAT in the community more.
Thank you for that, Ms. Johnson. That was a great communication update. Looks like we got a lot going on. Do we have anything else, CEO?
Not on the communications update, so we can move into the proposed board action items for consent.
All right, so we're going to the service delivery operation committee.
I'll discuss those today. Mr. Dumas is out, and so I'll discuss the three items there. First item, as has been discussed in the Service Delivery and Operations Committee earlier, is the extension of COVID-19 emergency measures. You recall in response to the COVID-19 virus, we implemented a number of emergency measures to lower the risk of exposure to employees and the public. And what we are asking for in this is to continue to allow the passengers to stand behind the seat line for all seats are occupied beginning September 28, 2022. You recall that the last measures that we implemented were continuing the recommendation that customers wear masks just to help mitigate the, some of the impact in the rise of COVID cases more recently. And we are continuing full seating capacity, but this new piece would allow passengers to stand behind the standing line when also seats are occupied. The next item is the hours of service regulation policy, what we refer to as 1012. This is a policy regulation that actually has been in place for a bit, and we identified it as a matter of compliance for us. And so we this creates the enforcing the hours of service regulation, where 10 hours of driving time, 12 hours of total service time. You may recall too that recently we explained that both the operator shortage and implementing that required compliance with that regulation has resulted in some of our service reliability issues that we're addressing. But really important to help prevent fatigue-related accidents and to be in full compliance with the regulations that are a part of the Georgia Department of Public Safety Motor Carrier Compliance Division. The next item is the Operation Command Center bus conversion. And I'm actually going to ask our Safety, Security, and Risk Manager, Patrick Fahey, to talk a little bit about that. A very exciting opportunity for us with one of our retiring buses. Patrick?
Sure. So a lot of transit agencies have looked at trying to figure out, if operations, if something were to happen, how can we continue operations outside of the office, outside of the building in which you're usually running operations from. Mobile command centers have been around for a long time with law enforcement agencies, with fire departments, SWAT teams, rescue teams, you name it. And so to kind of bring this into the transit system is going to be a huge win for CAT. I think it's going to kind of put us on top and compared to other agencies. So what this will allow us to do is we're going to take a vehicle that, per FTA has reached its useful life. And rather than, stripping it of good parts and salvaging the vehicle, we're going to repurpose the vehicle and make sure it's up and running, better than it is now, and kind of gut the interior and put monitors, desktop stations, phone communications, different things like that. So that way, if something happens here at CAT Central, or if the city needs us for an evacuation, or different reasonings like that, we can deploy that mobile unit at the Civic Center during hurricane evacuation, or we can set it up, maybe in Statesboro when we're doing the evacuations. That way, somebody is there planning for all of our fleet to arrive at the staging location, or the departure of those vehicles back to Savannah. So there's a lot of different opportunities for this to be used, and like I said, I think this will definitely put us on top in comparison to other transit agencies. I know New York City, their transit system, they either had or still have their mobile command center. So they obviously bigger city than Savannah, but they have one. They've used it before, and I think we're getting to the point where Savannah is growing, and so if we can find other ways to continue operations if something happens, we'll operate better.
I think especially with our coastal environment and the opportunity for us to be exposed to weather events, inclement weather events, and so forth, that this is a really important tool to put in our toolkit, and a really important adaptive reuse of an existing asset rather than just the retirement of it. So we're excited to bring this forward, and obviously there will be more follow-ups to come as we actually engage in the work of that. The next items are financial services and audit and compliance committee matters, and I'll ask our CFO Stephanie Cutter to walk us through these items.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, still morning. We have 3 items to come before the board recommending approval. The first, Clever Device change order, and this is to allow installation of Clever Device equipment onto the Fort Ferry. It was originally included, however, removed due to anticipating return of vehicle, but the vessel is now under major repair, and we would like to add this equipment to help track operations and other needed information related to ferry services. The second item is an RFP for occupational health services. And this service is needed for pre-employment screenings and also compliance as it relates to DOT physicals, very critical to the operations of Chatham area transit. This is for permission to issue an RFP for occupational health services. And then the last action item coming forward is for a repair on the Mary Musgrove ferry vessel. We are due for an inspection by the Coast Guard in October, and there are repairs that need to be made prior to that time. The projected cost for the repair is $58,785.
Any questions about the financial? But that will move forward to System Development Planning Committee. And I'll ask Ashley Rich, our grants planning manager, to discuss the grants application submission report via Ashley.
Good morning. Chatham Area Transit would like to apply for a competitive grant application to the Corps PO for fiscal year 2023 to fiscal year 2027 with the state block grant Y230. This is the transportation, road, and bridge dollars that can be applied to transit projects in our regional area. The Corps is opening submissions for the next 4 fiscal years. And while we be in competition with our local jurisdictions, we hope to apply for some of these funds in order to maintain our state of good repair and fleet replacement. We have a need for 12 to 14 heavy-duty vehicles according to our current replacement sheet, and that was to only grow over the next 2 to 3 years.
And I think the other part of this, though, as you've heard from us recently, is we have put this before you in an effort to have it ready to move forward, but we are still evaluating any and all grant applications and submissions that are coming before us against the self-imposed grant stay that we're engaging in right now, as we take the opportunity to, as we've mentioned, really get our grant house in order with regard to both our matching fund commitments that are needed, as well as the bench strength that we need on project management to make sure that we deliver these projects, we manage and deliver them successfully. So we do want to put this before you, but with an understanding that we are continuing to evaluate these opportunities against whether or not it's the right time for us to move forward on it. Thank you. The next item is the Executive Governance Committee, the 35th Anniversary Reduced Fare. This is an action item for a fare-free week. We are still calculating financial impact, but wanted to go ahead and bring before you the request for approval for the extension of fare-free services for fixed route and paratransit passengers from October 10th to the 14th. We are celebrating a grand milestone this year with 35 years of being an authority. We are planning a month-long celebration of all kinds of different things to celebrate CAP throughout the community and with all those who use us and support us, including the community, employees, our board, and so forth. We will be using promotional items largely that are already in stock, so we're making sure that we are, while this is obviously an event that must be commemorated, we're doing that with an eye towards the fiscal improvement in how we do that. We want to be sending a message to the community that we appreciate them for being a part of the CAP family, and that in recognizing the importance, CAT is an essential service in our community. So what we'll be doing is bringing forward to you marketing or proposed marketing for a fare-free week, and we will have the financial data impact available at the comments or questions on that? All right. Chairman, I'll turn it back over to you for old new business.
All right, thank you, ma'am. All right, do we have any old new business?
I have 2 items, sir, I'd like to mention. That's all.
Yes, ma'am.
The first one is I wanted to just be sure that you know that at the upcoming CAP board meeting, there will be a presentation on, we've been talking recently about a proposed temporary service modification that we would be implementing as soon as possible to bring that service reliability back, matching the services that we offer to the available labor force to deliver it on the operator side. We are still deeply in the analysis of that, but at the board meeting, both our staff and the outside consultant expertise that's been supporting us on this will be presenting that to you so that there's knowledge of what that temporary service model will look like. We have been in close coordination with FTA on that, as well as with the operators and the union representing the operators, and I will tell you that there is a large amount of support to bring that service reliability metric in alignment. Even as we know, we're going to continue to be very active in our recruitment with the customized recruitment services with the Department of Labor, and making sure that we begin to restore our service as quickly as possible to current levels. But this is the right thing to do to bring that reliability. That, along with the CAP tracker, and the big shout out to Ms. Johnson and the communications team. They have been working tirelessly. We've been pushing out communications to our passengers and to the community daily, so that this temporary term of unreliability that is upon us, we're making sure that we are managing expectations and addressing concerns and issues, and making sure the community is aware of what we're doing and how we're doing it. So there will be that service presentation later at this month's meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So before we move into our adjournment, I'd like to ask if any of our committee chairs or committee or board members like to make any comments about your committee.
I don't think so. As long as we're looking good financially, I'm good.
Thank you, Director Stone. All right, so our next meeting, we're looking at on our regular board meeting will be next week, September 27th. And our next governance meeting will be October 18th. At this time, I'd like to adjourn this meeting. Thank you, everybody, for attending.